What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got AJ in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert, Andy, Goran. Good morning to you. We got Joe in the house. Good morning to Josh, Lauren, Lou, Lydia, Martina, Michael's in the house. Good morning to Rick, Rob, Tim, all my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to Hostile, Ray, Helms, me, all the lurkers in the background. I'm just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah, me. You're summing that up pretty well in YouTube land. It was a wild morning already. Yeah, pretty wild. I would say day yesterday, kind of. It's almost like nothing really happened. But then right after we got off the mic at 12, then we started getting some headlines in that Iran is potentially going to be evacuated, and some Middle East tensions are picking up a little bit. We've had Middle East. We've had some headlines from the Middle East in the last few months. We haven't really reacted, which is uh, this is like the first time we kind of reacted a little bit to it. But yeah, so we have some escalation in the Middle East, and we'll see what happens from there. And then today we get PPI that came out pretty light. We also had job numbers or job list numbers that ticked a little bit higher as well. So. I don't know. I think that move that we just had probably a little overextension, but um, still hanging out. And like I said, we did nothing but something at the same time. We did manage to get through that first little support, 602.04. We did run up to. I had somewhere right around this 605 as some kind of resistance. So we nailed the resistance, and then from that point we did pull back. We haven't really broke trends. We're still in a fairly uptrend. In fact. If we want to continue the pattern, today would be a green day. Looks like we go red, green, red, green, red. So that means today that's science. I think it has to happen. So we'll see. We are right now. We got pushed back into a little support. I think there's a little bit of concern still in the market. I don't know if it's concerned. Again, the economic numbers are still proven to be fairly good. Some geopolitical stuff, maybe a little on edge there. But I think more importantly is just we're very high in the market. I think everybody's looking for the all-time highs. I think everyone's looking for a path to it. I think it could very well happen. I think we probably need a little push, probably from maybe a good deal or something like that. But yesterday was decent. We had the China deal at least almost solidified. We also had good CPI that came in, and we just didn't hold any of it. That tells me that at least there's not a buying frenzy. I think a day like that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, would have ended green and probably been a rather big candle as opposed to some kind of pullback. So maybe some people taking some gains, some profits into these levels up here. I think that makes sense. You haven't had really a pullback since. I guess somewhere right around this 583.27. We've been pretty much straight up. We had I guess one little pullback day, and even that was just kind of a retest into some of the support, and then you just continued along the way. So very interesting spot. I'd be cautiously bullish still, again, until we actually start breaking down. But even that pullback, it doesn't have to be the end of the world pullback. It could be a pullback into 494.45. It could be a pullback into 589, which is essentially right around the 590 zone, I think is decent support. So I think we could hit some of those and then maybe recover, but we have gone up pretty fast, pretty quickly, and I think being cautious, at least to the bull side, would make a little sense. Let's check out the cues. And then today is also a retest gap too, so hold on, let's go back. Question is, do we want to go short right out of the open, or how do we want to handle this? I think it depends on where we open. Right now, you get a little red candle coming in on a 15-minute chart for SPY, little inverted hammer. If we could open above, let's call it 600, that's been a very good resistance, very difficult to break. If we could stay above it at open, I think the retest is a little bit more, or if at any time we start closing candles above 600, I think the retest was still inside yesterday's candle, so nothing too crazy, except for the fact we weren't before. We'll see where we open. Look for some kind of resistance today at 602.01. We'll see if we get above it. If we can, the next resistance takes us right back to 603.71. If we open below 600, well, we got a little support down here still, 599.41. Anything past that, I think the selling picks up a little bit further, at least into the 597.28 zone. Let's check out the cues. The cues. Oracle, yeah, Oracle's gonna be an interesting one. We'll definitely take a look at that one. We got Qs, same thing for right now, inside day. Not liking the Qs as much. At least we're holding on SPY a little bit more support, but we'll see where we open again. Anything below 531.49, I think that puts more pressure to the downside. 530.32, we've been there yesterday. We had some price action into it. It's going to be a little bit of support, but we've been there. Easier to break down at this point. You have an okay level somewhere around 520. Now the spot just reversed and big, big jump up. And right back. Okay. I'm watching on my other screen. It's just going, it's like a kangaroo. We got 529.38 would be next support. And then I think probably looking for a much bigger support to hold somewhere around this 528.33 all the way down to like 527.62. So a little bit of decent support. But Qs, I want to see pick up a little bit more if we're going to stay bullish. And then even on that case, the next target to the bullish side only takes us to 532.43. So if we're going bullish, I don't expect rampage unless we start clearing that 532.55. Then we could have a wild day up to like 535.15. That will probably close green, and that pattern will continue. We don't have the same Christmas colors really on Qs. We don't have the doing its own thing a little bit. But we'll see. Bitcoin, BTC, USD. For right now, pulling back a little bit. So again, you really wanted to hold into this 108,583 zone. That did not happen, but you do have a pretty major support somewhere around 105,702. So Bitcoin's a little bit in no man's land. If we get a bounce, look for resistance at that 108,583 zone. Otherwise, not really too much holding it back up until 105,773. You have your 20 EMA there. But you have a little double top, lower highs. Again, we finally broke the upward structure. This all could be a retest for a bigger flush. But for right now, it's just kind of hanging out until we start getting past some crazy levels. Yeah, Boeing, another crash on Boeing. They they were doing so good. They were cruising. They were flying, I guess. No pun intended. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, which is very sad. So, there was a crash in India. It was into a I don't know if it was into like a medical school, I think, like right into a diner. So, tragic. Lots of people. I think it was like 200, was it 242 or 262 passengers on the plane. And then I think there was some people that also died in the location of the crash as well. So not a good news. It's very tragic. You don't want to see it. Even some of the people, if you're looking to short this company, like that's not how you really wanted to make your money, I'm sure. But uh, it was more of like, hey, it's probably high and maybe needs a pullback. That was probably your theory, but um, interesting levels at least. So for levels, if this thing is going to get some kind of a balance, and I business wise, it will add some complications, I think, because now there's going to be more scrutiny on the safety again, which we haven't had scrutiny on Boeing's safety in a while. There hasn't been a crash in a little bit. But this is a pretty big down day gap into a support. I think from here it probably gets a bounce. I don't know, maybe it doesn't, but I think as long as you're above 201.41, you have good risk to reward in a bullish direction on a bounce. You also had technically you had a little bit of a retest gap from yesterday and the day before. Both those candles though were inside a nice breakout candle. I think if you were sitting long, you really didn't get too worried about those two candles that came in, and now you're kind of down a little bit. So this is like the numbness trade, where if you're down this much on a trade just overnight, especially if you got into Boeing on June 9th, you're probably waiting and seeing what happens if you get some kind of a bounce. I think you're probably going to look to take some. I don't think you're looking to make money. I think you're looking to get out of this trade at a less of a loss. So look for the resistance to be pretty solid on this one. The first one I see really is 207.25. The next one I see up is about 209.16. But I think for at this point, even though it looks rough, again, it is tragic. I don't want to short this one right out of the gate. I think if you're going to short it, wait for higher levels at least. But this is probably news that over time I think they're going to be in the news cycle for probably the next, I don't know, week or two in terms of like how the investigations go and then what happens to Boeing safety. And it's just the standard of how it plays out. So I think they'll be in the news for a little bit. That's going to put more pressure on. And then eventually, especially if it gets low enough, which back to this 185.62 would be a good spot. I think a lot more bulls would be interested than even kind of buying up here, but interesting level of support at least. So probably for me, not a. It's gonna have to drop first and then get a rebound into this 201.82 zone, and then maybe look for a short. But if it can't break there, I kind of would lean a little bit long into that one as well. Let's see, we got some tickers coming in. Microsoft MSFT. Let's see. Microsoft is still running. Um, I'm not sure why. Let's see if there's news. They had a price target increase from so they went up to 605 from a previous target of 540. So a little bit of upgrades coming into Microsoft. You are gapping into all-time highs. I think that makes it a little tougher. It is also a retest gap. I don't know where this one goes. How many times have we seen those? Where's Microsoft on my list? I must have deleted Microsoft at some point. Let's get this one higher. I don't have any targets for the higher side of things. It is a good upgrade. It is a nice gap up. I always get a little suspicious when the gap ups come from upgrades. I'm just, I don't know, maybe a more nervous trader in that way. But if we get any kind of retest into 474.37 and it's holding even a high wave candle with a wick as close as possible to that, maybe we could look for a breakout. It definitely has momentum in it. It is a good upgrade. There is a lot more room on this one to where they just predicted. I don't think that's a target for today. Usually it's about a 12-month out target. But yeah, little pullback yard, all-time high. So legitimately every single person, even if it was yesterday at the very high, if you were that guy, well, you're probably about break even. Looks like it just pulled back a tad. So you still you still made a case at that point for some reason that is the time you should be buying Microsoft, and you're not losing on the that thought process. So right now, every single person's profitable. Market is a little shaky. We didn't see the market hold up after decent news yesterday, and that's going to put a big question mark in my book of if we are now kind of rotating into sell the news and Microsoft would be at that high. I can't short it here. There's way too much support, so I would have to stay long, unfortunately. But and I don't have targets higher than where we're at, so I'd probably just go for a 1.2, something like that, or try to trail your stops and see if you could run it into 2 hours maybe, if you get a decent enough setup on it. NEM, decent gap up. I don't know how much room there is on this one. Technically a retest gap from yesterday. I would say all three of those are really inside this breakdown. You are well above kind of the highest volume zone, so 52.61. You might be trapping some bears at this point. Probably look for targets at 54. I think the bulls are probably going to try to, or the bears really going to try to hold probably about 54.35. That at least keeps it inside this candle. If not, your next target on this one to a bullish direction is 54.76. But once you hit that, now you're also taking out that entire candle as well. That would probably put some more bullish sentiment, making that resistance a little bit probably easier to break, I would assume. Big resistance, which I think even on a really good day today, 55.29 would be the spot that holds. I think the way to play this one is since we have a bunch of resistance on the way up, see if this one wants to drop at least into 53.68. That would at least, maybe it doesn't, but then I'll just miss the trade. But see if this one wants to come down to like 53.66 or better spot, full on retest to like 53.33. And I could see some pullback with a little bit of if we are starting to rotate into sell the rips a little bit, you should get your pullback on this one. But decent gap, still inside that bigger drop candle. So I don't know how much panic and fear there is, but we'll see if there's a little pullback first. Oracle had earnings yesterday, and they were Pretty good. Like I said, a wild day today. Oracle had some wild earnings movement yesterday. We got like a $10 drop, and then just a monster move up higher after that. So I was looking at this level too, like right before the bell rang, and I was just too late because I was like, oh wait, hold on. Oracle reports today. Where's an interesting spot I could buy the dip after hours? And I was looking at this going, maybe somewhere around like 170, 136. I think it could drop to like 170. And then all of a sudden bounce back pretty strong. So I should have threw, I guess, an order out there, but did not. Today, pretty decent gap up. That is a lot of buying into the earnings. If we are indeed, and this is probably going to be a little clue for us, if the market sentiment is starting to shift a little bit, where we might be starting to sell the rips. If we give this entire move back, that's not going to be a great look for Oracle, and probably sets up for any future earnings for the next couple weeks, I would say, where that would put a again big question mark in the book of is any of this thing going to hold. So we'll see where this one goes. This is a big gap. I think I'd prefer you are into a rather strong resistance. I think your first target at least 184.70. Look to see if that holds. That would be the spot that I would like to see hold. Otherwise, looking for like 178.47. But pretty wild day so far. Nice gap up off of earnings. So definitely one to watch. I think I'd have to go with the fade over the long just because it is up a lot already. And we'll see if that one gives us any clues to fade. Maybe it wants to come a little higher first, 191.89, and then a big spot. If you could get an order in to go short somewhere around 193, and again, who knows, maybe it just rampages. So I'm just throwing out some hypotheticals at this point. But if you could go bearish somewhere around 193.59, and then you have your stop placement on Oracle somewhere at all-time highs, which would be up here. That gives you about $5 of risk, $5.20 of risk, and you have a decent way down, especially if we close this gap completely. Could happen with all that buying that came in. But even if you get into targets somewhere around here would be decent. Somewhere right around this zone. That still sets you up for about a 2R trade, and then you got extra room. You got some extra innings if you close that gap up, but that would be probably how I would look to trade it if it comes up a little bit higher. At least in terms of taking a shot, playing a fade on it. Coinbase, Coinbase. Well, we just looked at Bitcoin. That was not really showing too much strength so far today. Uh, almost into a key level of support that has to hold in this one. I think your real key level. Well, I don't know. We're in chop zone, so I would say it would be this one, but we've already retested that. However, we retested this one too. This is also a retest gap. You are opening into a little bit of support here, maybe a high wave candle, and this thing could get bid up to 250.61. But otherwise, we're still just kind of hanging out. If you're under the impression that buying the dip works, this would be the dip that you would be looking to buy. So if you're looking to think that Coinbase at some point ends up breaking out bullish and you are just bullish on Bitcoin, you don't have bad risk reward throwing some kind of stop underneath that green candle. I'm a little indifferent on it, especially if it relies so much on Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin just starts flushing, Coinbase is not going to hold up too well. But some kind of bullish entry here for a swing trade, somewhere around 246.40. That would get you decent risk reward, even up to the top of this candle. You're probably looking at a swing trade where you're sitting at maybe about 2 hours before you even get that break on it. So all we're really doing is sitting inside of a kind of a pennant path, maybe about a 1.5, maybe almost 2 hours, something like that. But and then obviously if it breaks out of there, the next target would be like 292 and it'd be a phenomenal trade. So right now it looks to me like all we're really doing is we're still just hanging out in this momentum. Crypto lost a little bit of shine lately where it's just trading sideways, and that's not a bad thing, but you are buying this one at the lower end. You have a good stop placement. If it doesn't work, well, do you really want to be in it at that point, breaking down that big monster candle? So Interesting risk reward to a bull side here. It is also a retest gap, but I would expect this one to remain choppy until probably Bitcoin gets that break. You do have earnings here, but earnings have not been good last quarter, so it's not something you could probably rely on earnings pushing you to the next level. We'll see. Palantir, PLTR. What is an R? How do I calculate it? An R is essentially your risk unit, so that should be 1% of your max 2% of your account. But that it should be your predetermined level of every trade you're taking. So this way you know exactly how much you're losing. So a lot of traders, they're probably more or less around 1%. I'm slightly under 1% for the account. Um, but it's the same unit. So if you want to risk, and that's why we could draw those lines like we did on the last chart. And no matter what size, if your account's $1 million or $5,000, we could all take the same trade. We're just trading the candles. The R and how much money we make just solely depends on how big our account is that we're trading. But we could all take the same setup, so all look for the same type thing. So that's your risk unit, which should just be at one around 1% of your account, realistically. Other than that, then you're just creating the formula of if I get into Palantir at 140 and I get stopped out at 130, the most I'm going to risk on that trade is my R, which is $50, $100, $5,000, whatever that predetermined number is. Palantir, and if you want, on you can go to reallifetrading.com. We have free beginner classes. We do talk about the R system in there, and then you get a full kind of breakdown on that as well. You got Palantir is good day yesterday. Good day yesterday. Oddly enough, in the LA riots, there's been some political people saying that we should bring Palantir in to help us with the LA riots. Very interesting. But yeah, for right now, they've had a good move still. Right now, you're at least under this 137.08, so watch if that breaks. That momentum could run. Otherwise, really, really good breakout candle. Do I want to buy it here? I don't know. Probably. I'm always the probably not until we get a big dip. Give me like another 20% off or something, and then could position better. But if it starts breaking out, maybe momentum continues. You still got 140, good psychological number. Otherwise, for now, the closer you can get to 130, 60, maybe have that as a little bit of decent looking support. And maybe you fade this one. But if you're fading this one, stops above 140, and then as soon as you get candles closing really above 137.08, something like that, you're going to probably slam those stops down a little bit. Other than that, it's chilling. Still looks good if you're holding it. If you're still in it, there's not really a reason to sell, except for just taking profits, and that might not be a bad play sometimes too. We got MU is not doing much. Very good momentum. Let me see the volume on the side. We're in no man's land. So I think on a swing trade basis, even though this is as far extended already, looking for some kind of support around 113.53-ish, and an actual VPOC is 114.29. There's really not a lot holding you back from a further move on this one, more continuation. Day trade wise, it's a little tough, but if you want to try to buy it, first spot I would look is about this 114.29. You're not really gonna have a great stop on that because your next spot is 111.28. So I'm almost gonna need a little bit of a deeper pullback to get in for some kind of a swing. For day trade wise, I'm not sure. You got 115.64 would be your resistance, and then you got 114.29 for today. So you're smack in the middle of both. You don't have really good risk reward, I don't think, on a day trade unless you're expecting one of those to break. And momentum has been strong, although today is a gap and go to the bearish direction. Maybe this one could set us up for that little bit of a bigger pullback, and then more buyers could look to step in at that point. Let's see, we got Apple. Apple with a gap and go today. However, very, very low end of yesterday's entire price movement still. I think this one's battling. That's not a great close on Apple yesterday. That's showing some weakness. Risk to reward, if so here's my case for the bulls. If you like Apple bullish, you're probably throwing your stops at the low of yesterday's day, looking for some kind of support or getting as close as possible to 198.82. That will get you a tight setup. That will get you an opportunity if this thing wants to bounce. You'll have really good risk reward on this one, and decent risk reward. Bigger resistance on this one right now is 199.54 and psychologically $200. So those are the two spots. Otherwise, Apple looks like it's in trouble with that close that we got yesterday. In a longer term picture, I think Apple probably wants to come back down to at least 195.91. So I think momentum is to the bear side. Again, day trading is a little different. And maybe if you could hold in, you have something, some reason Apple is gapping a little bit today, and that might be from, I don't know, the overall market just got a little push maybe. But yeah, a little bit of resistance. I think the better move on this one is wait for the bounce and then probably try to play it in the recent direction, which has been looking a little bit short. You got all those moving averages on a daily above you as well. So I think I'd be kind of chilling on that one. Aklo down a little bit. They did a bond conversion offer yesterday, which massive day yesterday. I think you're up like 30%. So wild day. This morning you're down about, I don't know, 5, 6%. And they did a pretty large bond offering yesterday, which in a company standpoint, your company has gone absolutely parabolic and you have the opportunity to make some money at a very high level. For a company purpose, that's good. For stocks, not exactly what you want to see. However, the testament to strength on Oklo, you get one of those in some other company, the amount of money that they did for the convertible rate, you're not dropping 6% after 30. Like you're giving a lot back. And this is a very small drop compared to even what we just put in yesterday. Like most of the traders, again, unless you're the top ticker, if you're top tick Tommy, you're okay, you're down a little bit. If you're not top tick Tommy and you bought anywhere else, even that day, you're either flat or still up wildly. So there's still strength, but you don't really, as a trader, you don't really want to see that more shares get out there, more little dilution gets out there. But as a company standpoint, great way for them to raise money. I think it's a smart business move in general. Um, but we'll see what happens on this one. For this to continue bullish, and you might even see that pop into this one. If you're trying to short, first of all, prayers, I guess. Prayers, prayer hands, prayer hand emojis. You got 67.05 would be the spot that you'd look to go short if you get some kind of a bounce. Otherwise, look for some kind of support. Next target, I think, a full retest of 55.16. If you're a bull, you really don't want to see yesterday's candle start getting taken out. Other than that, that is the morning bell. So, everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. Otherwise, be safe, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.